Hello everyone, Stepan here. Today I played a game against Adhiban Baskaran, an Indian grandmaster rated almost 2700, and he's playing the Tournament of Peace in Zagreb, my hometown, along with Vasily Ivanchuk, Etienne Bacro and many other strong players. And today they organized the Simultaneous Exhibition for us lower rated chess players from Zagreb, and they got to play. And I have to say I got absolutely destroyed by Adhiban, and he just gave me no chance. I played what I usually play. I decided to complicate things and tried to play aggressively, but the game was over very soon, and I have to say I had hoped for at least a few more moves. But I'm not unhappy with how I played. I mean, I just blundered at the end and gave him too much initiative in the middle game, which I suppose was expected. So anyway, in a simultaneous exhibition you always have the black pieces. You have to make a move as soon as the grandmaster comes to your board, and I have to say I was under a lot of pressure because of that, because our game, at least for me, got extremely complicated after a few moves, and I would have liked to have had at least an hour for moves 10 through 15. Or at least I would have used that had I been playing in a real tournament game. So anyway, Adhiban opened with pawn to e4. I played c6, the Caro-Kann, and he played d4, d5, e5, the advanced variation, and I played bishop f5. I was actually thinking about playing c5, but I decided not to, because I guess he has something prepared for that. I mean, of course he does, he's a grandmaster, but... And I think I thought I would have had more chance in this variation. Knight to f3, e6, this is all common stuff, the main line, bishop to e2. The short variation of the Advance Caro-Kann, this is the most popular way to play. And now usually in my previous games, in this game I played something I've never played before, and I would usually play knight to d7. After which white castles, and then my plan was usually to play knight to e7, and after he does something I play c5 and then knight to c6. This is the setup I normally play, and in this game I decided to play c5 immediately, which is a more aggressive way to play, and well, of course I had nothing to lose, so I wanted to play aggressively. And players with white will most commonly play bishop to e3 here. The second move is castles. The third most popular is c3, which is slightly passive. c4 is another option which I've studied the most, which I think is the trickiest for black to face. But anyway, he played bishop to e3, which is the most common move. And now c takes d4 is by far the most common, and after that queen to b6. And while he was playing the other boards, I actually considered playing queen to b6. But I didn't want to get into that because I didn't know the line well enough, so I played c takes d4, and of course he took with the knight. And now black's position is already under a lot of pressure, and I'm not sure what the exact evaluation is. I will check the game with an engine afterwards, as I always do with my own games. But I think it's about equal, if I can remember what I was analyzing when I was preparing c5 on move 5. And now the problem is that he is of course attacking my bishop. If I allow him to take on f5 and I take with the e-pawn, then my pawn structure is horrible. My d-pawn is about to drop. So I have to either retreat my bishop, which would be much better to do had I played h6 already, or I can defend it. And the problem with defending the bishop is that you get the blocked Advance Caro-Kann position for black, which is really hard to play. So I played knight to e7, defending the bishop, because I have some experience in these positions, and I've had this problem before, not being able to develop my f8 bishop. But the thing that eventually cost me the game, or at least I think so, the idea that cost me the game, is something I've been looking at for the last, I would say, 2 months, and that's the idea of playing h6, not because I want to retreat my bishop to h7, but to play g5 and bishop to g7 to put pressure on the e5 pawn. And that's what I decided to play this game. Here he reacted with knight to d2, which I actually haven't seen before. I haven't played this position before, but when I was analyzing, this is what I was most afraid of, because the problem is I would like to develop my knight to c6 and perhaps sometimes capture and on d4, and in this position if I play knight to c6, he's going to play knight to f3, and he's going to have support for his d4 knight. So his knights have a wonderful outpost here on d4, and there is no way for me to challenge that because I have no pawns along the c file. And here I played a move which, well, I wasn't sure whether it's a good move, but I wanted to play it because I often have problems along the e8, a4 diagonal. So I decided to play a6. I'm not sure what the engine will say, we will see, but at least with this I'm stopping any ideas of knight to b5 and knight to d6 check, which would be favorable for him, of course, and I'm stopping any bishop b5 checks, which might be uncomfortable for me as well. Here he castled, and I played knight b to c6. And well, of course my position is cramped, I have no room to maneuver, I haven't castled yet, my bishop is still stuck on f8. His position is much easier to play, and that's a common problem in the Advance Caro-Kann for black. But I was feeling okay, and I've had positions like this before, so it wasn't that uncomfortable. And well, here he played a logical move, knight 2 to f3, just defending his e5 pawn and supporting the d4 knight. And now I went for the plan of h6 g5, which is, I think, a mistake. So I played h6. In any case, if I don't decide to play g5, I can play bishop to h7 and knight to f5, trying to develop. But after rook to c1, I didn't go for that. Now, bishop to h7 was one move, and let's say he plays c4, which is the most active move. I can't really consider knight to f5 here because he can take, and I think I'm in some trouble here. Perhaps not, though. Let's see. If he takes here, yeah, I can't exchange the queens because he has this, and I lose a piece. So I would be forced to take here, and when he captures here, I would take here, and I think his position is better, but still not as bad as what happened in the game. So after h6, he played rook to c1, and I played g5. And he actually stopped at my board after g5 and thought for about 20 seconds, which I was happy to see. I don't think it mattered that much. I don't think he was impressed or scared with the move. Perhaps he just hasn't seen it before. But he played the move I expected. He played c4 and just broke through my position completely, and I was in trouble after this. After c4, I realized that h6 g5 was either a waste of time or a complete mistake or misplayed in a position in which it doesn't work. In some positions it does work, and that's why I was looking at it. And now I was considering several options. The first one was to take, to relieve some of the pressure, because in many positions my c6 pawn is hanging. After knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes. And my a6 pawn is hanging. After knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, if my rook is on c8. And another thing is, if I allow him to capture my bishop, and then after knight takes, pawn takes, I have to take with the queen, and after he takes with his queen, I capture with my e-pawn, and I have an isolated d5 pawn. So in all variations, I thought I was in a lot of trouble, and in the end I decided to play rook to c8, expecting c takes d5, and I was going to take with the queen, and that's exactly what happened. After rook to c8, he took on d5. I, of course, can't take with the knight because he will take my bishop, and after e takes f5, my position is just horrible, my pawn structure is ruined, so I took with the queen, and he played knight takes c6, which... well, I don't think this was the best move. I was actually scared. I was scared of the move queen to a4, because now he has a lot of pressure on my position, and in any case he can play rook f to d8 to d1 and put even more pressure. And he's pinning another one of my pieces, so I thought this must have been better, not allowing a queen exchange. But after he took on c6, I basically have to exchange the queens, otherwise my position is just breaking down. So queen takes d1, and after rook f takes d1, I took on c6 with the knight, which might be a mistake, but after rook takes, I'm not sure what I didn't like about this position. Perhaps I should have taken with the rook. Perhaps I should have considered this some more, because the position which arose was actually because of the fact that I took with the knight, and in this position I was afraid of knight to d4, and then I have to take, and rook takes, and after bishop to g7 I'm actually fine. I should have taken with the rook. I don't think this position is worse for black at all. I mean, he can infiltrate here on c7, but after, well, I can just give up that pawn, I think, or not. I can't castle because my e7 knight is hanging. Perhaps I can protect the pawn. Let's say bishop to e4, and I guess he would exchange. So let's say this happens. Knight takes, and yeah, now I no longer have a way to defend my pawn, and the e5 pawn is sufficiently defended. So yeah, not a good position. Perhaps knight here would be okay. If he checks me, my rook is protected. Let's say he takes. Now I can finally castle at least. So perhaps I could hold this position, I'm not sure though. But anyway, after queen takes d1, rook f takes d1, I took with the knight, which just allowed a massively better position for him. He played knight to d4, and now, of course, my knight is pinned to my rook. I can't move it. My bishop is hanging, or not hanging, but he can capture it, and I will have to recapture with the e-pawn. And I'm in a world of pain here, and I didn't know what to do, so I only saw one move, which I started calculating, and that was the move bishop to e4, which ended up losing immediately. However, I had about, I would say, 3 or 4 minutes for him to make the full circle and come back to my board, and you have to make a move as soon as he comes to your board, so I didn't have enough time to think. But what should I have considered? I'm really not sure. I was looking at the move bishop to e7, but then I lose a pawn. I lose 2 pawns, in fact. And I was looking at bishop to g7. So let's say bishop g7, knight takes c6, b takes c6, bishop takes a6, rook to b8 was my calculation. And after rook takes c6, I can finally castle, but I'm too much material down. I'm 2 pawns down, and I just have no chance to hold this position. Let's say b4, and I can capture here. And yeah, my position is losing. These 2 connected passed pawns are too strong, and I'm going to lose. So after I saw this position, I decided not to go for that, and that's as far as I got. And then I saw the move bishop to e4, which I actually saw it about 20 seconds before he came to my board, and I was happy to find that move. I played it. And after he came to my board, he looked at the move. I played the move when he came. He looked at the move for about 10 seconds and made a move after which I wanted to throw up. And he found a brilliant tactic. He played knight takes c6, and he went to the board next to me, and I just the position is losing. I can't take the knight. If I don't take the knight, then I'm just a critical pawn down, and I'm going to lose. My position is still horrible. I'm never going to castle, and it's just busted. So firstly, if I take the knight, then he has mate in 2. So takes, check. This is checkmate. That's it. I can't do anything. If I don't take the knight, let's say bishop to f5, he can take here. He can play here, he can do anything. Let's say he takes here. I'm just going to lose in 10 more moves, and there's no hope to hold this position at all, and this is just busted. So after the move knight takes e6, I saw that I couldn't take the knight, and he came to my board. I took it and played the 2 moves until mate. I figured that he wants to get the simul over with and just go home or whatever, to the hotel to relax. So I'm not sure whether it's polite or gentlemanly to allow grandmasters in a simul to play till mate, but I did. I thought it would be polite, and I actually think I was the first person to lose at the simul. This was only 17 moves, so I got crushed pretty badly. But I'm happy that I decided to play what I usually play. I didn't want to enter any passive positions. Let's turn on the engine here just to see. Bishop to d3, the main move, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight to e7, the main move, c4 here immediately, but he played knight to d2, and let's see what the engine thinks about a6. It's about equal, slightly better for white. The same evaluation is for the move knight to c6, which the engine thinks is best. But what happens after bishop here? After bishop to b5, a6 takes. Yeah, it's nothing major. Black is in fact slightly better here. After a6, he castled. I played knight b to c6, which is okay. Knight 2 to f3. h6 is a mistake. Yeah, my plan of h6 and g5 is a mistake. The engine says I should have played bishop to e4. And after, okay, c4. Why h6 now? What's the point of this? Rook c1, queen to d7, takes. Okay, so bishop e4 so that I can take with the bishop. That makes sense. Yeah, I have a lot more room to maneuver with my bishop here on d5. That makes a lot of sense. But anyway, after knight to f3 I played h6, and after rook to c1 I played g5, which the engine thinks is horrible. This is +1 now for white, and in fact he should have taken on c6, but c4, yeah, now c4 is the best move, plus 0.6, so not a winning advantage, but just better. So c4, c takes d5 is the best move. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry, d takes c4. D takes. Okay, bishop takes. I can win the e5 pawn, I guess. Oh, this is complicated. Queen check. Knight here, knight takes. I think I would have taken with the knight, so... Oh, no, this is +5. Okay, let's go back. D takes c4. Bishop takes c4. g4. Knight h4. Knight takes... Yeah, knight takes c5 is a mistake. I should have taken here. Bishop takes. Here to solidify my pawn structure. Knight takes. Bishop here. Can I finally castle? Okay, queen takes, rook takes, attacking the rook, rook back. Can I castle? Can I castle? Yeah, I guess I can. So yeah, this position is fine. So g4 wasn't the losing blunder. g5, sorry. So after g5, c4 I should have taken the pawn. I played rook to c8, which is +1.5, just bad. After he took, I took with the queen, which is +2, and he should have played queen to a4, which was the best move, but his move knight takes c6 is equal. Oh, he actually made a mistake. He went from +2 to all zeros. Okay, so I wasn't losing. Okay, let's see. I took the queen. Queen takes queen, rook takes queen. Yeah, taking with the rook was good. Taking with the knight is +1, but still not losing. Okay, let's see. If I take with the rook, what about knight to d4? Okay, I can just exchange. I guess rook takes. Bishop here. What about rook here? Yeah, okay, bishop e4. Oh, yeah, this is... black is actually better here. I don't have to take the bishop. I can... But can he win two pieces? Okay, let's see. Here, what if he takes here? Takes. How is this better for black? Oh yeah, because his back row is weak. Yeah, but... Okay, so anyway, after knight takes c6, he played knight to d4. And yeah, bishop to g7, what I was calculating was probably the only move. What about bishop to e7? It's still +1.5. After bishop to e7, it's the same. Okay, knight takes. Rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes a6. I'd just like to castle. Yeah, but this is losing. I'm losing too many pawns. But after knight takes d4, bishop to e4, knight takes e6 is just winning, plus 1.7. And bishop to f5 was the best move. Let's see. Yeah, my position is just busted. I can't really do anything to survive this. So anyway, the winning tactic after knight takes e6 was what happened at the board. I just played out until this mate to be polite. So yeah, this was my first game against a grandmaster ever. I can't say it went well. I got crushed in 17 moves. Congratulations to Adhiban. I hope he doesn't get too tired at the Simul. I hope he's happy with the results. And I'm not sure how the other games ended. I actually went home after I finished my game because it was very crowded. So yeah, I have to work on my Advance Caro-Kann, definitely. And I have to sort out the problems after bishop to e3, and I can't really go for h6 g5 in many positions. I have to find some other way to develop in that position and to castle. And I should have definitely played something more passive and which involves castling, just to make sure that I don't blunder tactically as I did in this game. So yeah, a great lesson and a great experience. I was happy to play Adhiban. He's a great grandmaster, a wonderful player, and I hope to see him at the World's Top in a while. I think he definitely has potential to do that. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope you got something from this horrible defeat I suffered to Adhiban Baskaran, and let me know what you think. Stay tuned for more chess, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.